Hey everyone, this is make sure we have some volume here. Welcome to Sunday Night Alive. We come together every Sunday night at 5 o'clock to talk about things that render us empowered to live healthy, spiritually healthy, mentally healthy, emotionally healthy, physically healthy lives. And we do this because we know that healthy people create a healthy world. So, my name is Reverend Denise Schubert. I am the founder and director of A Life of Spiritual Power. And I am so happy you joined me tonight. I actually changed direction on what we're going to talk about. And I'm very excited to tell you this story. And it is a story of inspiring story. And I want to give you a little bit of background. But before I do that, let me just kind of set this up. We'll be over about 30 to 45 minutes. There's a chat room. So if you want to say hi to each other and to me, you can do that. I love knowing that you're here. And I think that's all. The bathroom's down the hall on your left. So just kidding. So we were going to talk about what you really, really want, which is a conversation about your soul's deepest desires, which is a very big conversation. And I think we should have it someday. But I got a little off course this week. And instead, I'm going to share with you a story. And the story is the Africa in a Pink Nissan. And I'm telling it really in honor of Reverend Connie Phelps, who is in Canada actively making her transition right now. Let me tell you, for those of you who don't know me, a little bit who she is in my life and why this story needs to be told. I went to Africa the first time ever in September of 2014, and the continent so captured my heart. All of you know that. So for the next 12 to 18 months, I went back 3 or 4 times, and I had this idea that maybe I should go spend more time in Africa. Maybe I should try to live there for a little bit. And when I was pondering that, somebody in one of my classes, I was a senior minister at the Center for Spiritual Living in North Carolina. They told me that they had heard that there was this woman in Canada who had gone to Nairobi, Kenya, to start a Science of Mind center there. And so, of course, I thought, well, God, that'd be so great to go over to Africa and actually do the work I do. So I called her. I tried to call her, and she never called me back, and we never connected. So Reverend Dusty Ripplemeyer, who's my assistant minister, she and I went to the Parliament of World Religions in Idaho. Idaho? I think it was Idaho. Doesn't matter. And at the Parliament of World Religions, there's probably 80,000 people there, and there's all these breakout rooms. And anyway, we went, and all of a sudden I hear behind me, we're in a little conference room, and I hear behind me this woman talking, really loud woman. And it turns out it was Reverend Connie Phelps from Kenya. And it just made me weep. It was like so serendipitous that she was there and that we found her there with 80,000 people. So to make a long story short, she and I did connect. And in 2016, December through March, I went to live in Kenya with her, and did a lot of photography, and also worked with her and her students there. She had students, and it's a very thriving center. So I went back the following year for 1 month, and during that month we had this adventure, and it's the adventure I really want to share with you, really in her honor, and also because at this point our country has been going through a little bit of racial tension. And having lived in Nairobi, I clearly was the minority there and got to really deal with some of my own stuff that I might have had. You know, I never considered myself a racist. I grew up in San Francisco in a very diverse environment. Though when I was a child, my parents, my resource poor parents, that we didn't have a lot of money, they were deeply afraid of the other, whoever the others were. The others at that time, primarily for us, were the Russians, because we were in the middle of the Cold War. So, you know, they were busy stockpiling water and food just in case a real war happened. And So there was some other, some indoctrination into this other. But of course, I could never admit about the other, being a little afraid of the other, because I grew up in San Francisco in the 60s. And for God's sake, that was, it was the age of Aquarius. We were giving love away for free. So I want to tell the story about Kenya. And I want to tell this story about Connie and I. And I don't think she's made her transition. I think she's still with us. I don't know whether she's in a condition to hear me tell the story, but somewhere in consciousness, I'm just going to know that she's feeling my love for her and my appreciation for our relationship. So one day we decided, we lived in Nairobi, and we decided to go take a day trip or a weekend trip to this place that's called the Ark, which I had been to before. It's this amazing hotel in the Aberdare Forest, where that's got 3 tiers, and you stay at this hotel overnight, and you can go out to these tiers. You can't leave the hotel. So you are sequestered into the hotel because you're in the middle of the African bush. But you can go to these tiers and you can see these animals come to drink, or they had a salt lick there. So elephants would come, and buffalo would come, and leopards would come, and all these animals. It was an incredibly magical place. So we leave our house and we put into Google to get to the Ark in the Aberdare Forest, and then we head out. And it should have been about a 3-hour drive to get there. Well, it turns out that we got very lost because Google kept taking us to these dead ends, and we could see the Ark in the middle of the Aberdare Forest, but we couldn't find a road to get to it. So 5 hours later, we are still driving, have no idea where we are. And once you get out of Nairobi, there is nothing. I mean, we're now in where the population lives in villages. So there are no police stations. There's no gas stations. There's nothing. I can't even, I don't know what I would liken it to in the United States, maybe driving across Kansas or Texas, but fewer, and there are clearly, oh my God, I forgot the most important thing. So Connie owned a pink Volkswagen. I don't think it was a Volkswagen. I think it was a Nissan, a hot pink Nissan. So, and we're both women of a certain age. So we're 2 white, middle-aged women driving this pink car in the middle of the African wilderness. I just want you to get that we turned heads. Even just driving, we turned heads. And especially in these little villages, there are no white people. They're all Kenyans, right? So here we are tooling, and people are going, what the hell? What the hell? So most important part of the story is this pink car. So we get to, we keep driving down these dead ends. We don't know what to do. Nobody speaks English out in the suburbs of Kenya. So the final road we turned down this road, 1 mile down this road that is not much wider than her car, right? It's like we have an inch on either side. And in fact, we're driving down this road, and there were some goats tied up to a stake, and the plants are very high. So it's like we're driving down this little, I don't know what to call it, like a lane covered with foliage. Unfortunately, we get to the bottom of this road, and it's another dead end. But this time we're nose into the dead end, and we can't turn around, and we can't back up. So we're sitting there trying to figure out what to do. And it's 4 o'clock, so it's going to be dark. It's winter, so it's going to be dark in an hour and a half. And suddenly, out of the bushes, out of nowhere, come 6 African men, 6 Black men. I can't even tell you, I was so terrified. It's like, oh my God, Connie, we're in the middle of nowhere. We're nowhere. No one knows we're here. There's no one to call. Nobody's going to meander down this road. So our doors were locked and the windows were rolled up, and we're trying to figure out what to do, right? And Connie's not really too afraid. She's lived in Kenya for 7 months. So she's not really afraid. I was afraid. I don't know. I was afraid. It was like, oh God. So I don't know how she did it, but she managed to get this pink car. And these men, oh, by the way, don't speak English. And they're just looking at us like we had to have looked to them like aliens from outer space. That's how it had to look for them. So she bumps and grinds this car. So it took 30 minutes for her to get this car turned around so it's pointing uphill. Not without a lot of damage. I mean, she had scratches and dents, and she's got this death grip on the steering wheel, and it's not an automatic, it's a stick shift. And so finally we get the car pointed uphill. I'm going somewhere with this, honest, I swear. It's such a great story. Get this car pointed uphill, and it's like, okay, let's go. Come on, just step on the gas. Let's go. So we step on the gas, except that it's an incline, and it's muddy. So they've had rains. So we're not going anywhere. The wheels are just spinning, right? So it's like, honey, what are we going to do? We can't walk out of here. We can't drive out of here. We can't get out of the car. What are we going to do? And she goes, well, I don't know. I don't know what to do. So all of a sudden, out of nowhere comes another Kenyan man, kind of a jolly Kenyan man, right? Twinkle in his eye. And he comes over to Connie's window and he knocks, right? It's like, and he says in English, praise God, in English, he goes, what are you doing here? And we both go, well, we're lost. And he goes, indeed, you are very lost. So he proceeds to rally these men, and they try everything they can do to get us out, right? They tied a rope around the front and pulled, and that was useless. Then they tried getting behind us and pushing. And so I finally looked at Connie. Well, a woman came out, which I'm pretty sure was the wife of the jolly guy. And she came out, and she was an older woman too. I would say she's probably in her 50s, maybe in her 60s. And everybody, of course, is looking at us too. There's a word for white women in Kenya, masungas. It's not really a very nice word, but we're called masungas. So it's like it's two masungas in this pink Volkswagen or whatever it was. So finally, one of the men, very smart, he grabbed this rock, and I did get out of the car. So I just looked at Connie and said, so am I safe out there? If I get out of this car, am I going to die? And she goes, oh, no. So I get out of the car, which relieved, of course, the car from my 140 pounds, and also gave another pair of hands to help push or pull, whatever it is we're going to do to get out of this mess. Anyway, this guy gets this rock. So Connie guns the engine, and 6 of us push this car 3 inches, and he puts the rock behind the rear tire, which stopped us from rolling back the 3 inches. And then we pushed the rock. Connie gunned it again, moved the rock 3 inches. We did that for 1 hour and 45 minutes. Pushed and put a rock. These men helped us to get us this 1 mile up this road. So finally, we did get 1 mile up this road, and we had shillings with us, the Kenyan currency, and we gave them what we had. It wasn't nearly enough for one. They didn't kill us, which I was ever grateful for, and felt rather foolish to think that they might. I mean, they were so, nothing in these guys wanted to harm us or steal from us or rob us. Nothing. That was all in me. Do you understand? It's all in us. This fear of the other is just, it was so transforming for me, but it actually even gets better. So then we finally get out of this predicament we're in. We're back on the road. But the truth is, we are as lost as we ever were. We still don't know how to get to where we're going. And, this Google isn't helping us in any way. So we're pondering what to do, whether we just go home, of course, I guess we could have gone home pretty easily. All of a sudden, Connie's cell phone rings out in the middle of nowhere. We're nowhere. And Connie answers the phone, and it's the guy, it's the hotel guy at the Aberdare Country Club, and he says, "Are you guys still coming?" To which we told him the story that we're incredibly lost. This is what happened. And he said, "Oh, okay, okay." In broken English, they don't, he didn't talk like I'm talking. So he says, "Is there anyone? Can you see anyone? Look around." So we look around and we see this like a 10-year-old little Kenyan boy with a bicycle. And he goes, "Just hand him your phone." So they go talking to each other. And the boy hands the phone back to Connie, and she gets on the phone. The guy, this is what he says: "Go up 2 blocks, turn right, and keep driving until I call you again in about 10 minutes. So that's what we did. We drove, turned right, and 10 minutes later he called. He says, "Okay, tell me where you are now." And we told him what we were looking at. And he said, "Okay, go 1/4 mile and turn left and drive, and I'll call you in about 15 minutes. He did this for an hour and a half. I mean, can you imagine? Can you imagine making a reservation at a Hilton hotel and being late for your reservation and having a desk clerk call you to help you find them? It's just, I've never even heard of such a thing in my life. So we finally get there. We finally do get there. He gets us to the Aberdare Country Club, which is therein lay the problem, because you can't go to the Ark on your own, because it's you have to be driven in. So people meet at the Aberdare Country Club, and then you all go into the Ark Hotel. And they do that once a day. So once a day they take people in, and once a day they bring people out. Now, so we have the kindness of these 7 Kenyan men and 1 Kenyan woman who just helped us. They just did everything they could do to help us. And then we have the kindness of this desk clerk who got us there. And then there were 6 other people who were waiting for us. We were supposed to be there at, I think it was 1 o'clock or maybe 3 o'clock. I don't know. We were supposed to be there and we weren't. So all of those people had to wait for us. Didn't have to. I'm sure they could have insisted, but they waited for us so that we could all go into the Ark together. So in a another half an hour, we were sitting at the Ark with a glass of wine. Well, actually, really, it was a bottle of wine. And Connie's hands hurt from gripping the steering wheel so hard for so long. And I was just so grateful for the kindness of strangers, and so grateful to have such a irrefutable demonstration of the essential goodness of people. I mean, I'm sure that there are some people who under that circumstances might have meant to do harm, but I came to realize that in 2 things really that are important for us as spiritual fodder. One is that that isn't the majority at all. In fact, it's probably the rare exception. And 2, that in consciousness that we are actually in interactions with all of the people we're in interactions with. So I'm sure to this day, these 6 African men and this 1 African woman are telling this story about the 2 white women in the pink car that came and went one afternoon. So that, and I'm sure that whatever shillings we gave them, that it fed them for a month, that it was just such a blessing, a shared blessing for each of us. So I couldn't help but really thinking about Connie, and every once in a while in life, you have these defining moments where your eyes are open to some way you have of thinking, to some way you have things you believe. I had another experience in Kenya as well that's equally as remarkable, in that I was in an Uber, traveling someplace in an Uber, And in Kenya, in Nairobi, there's no real freeways or highways like we have here, but there is one called a Southern Bypass. And this Uber driver was taking me back to our house, and he ran out of gas on this highway. So I said, well, just pull over and let me call another Uber who can come pick me up, and then you can go about your business. And he didn't do that. He wouldn't do that. Instead, he truly started this car like 6 times to get us off the bypass. So he'd start the car, drive it, and it would die, of course, because it's out of gas. Then he would do it again and again until we pulled off the bypass. This is what he did. He handed me the key and he said, I'll be right back. He said, lock your door, lock the doors, and I'll be right back. So I could see him. He's running up a mile to a gas station, gets the gas, comes back, fills up the car with gas, and proceeds to take me home and didn't charge me. And it was just like, really? So I don't know. There was just something so generous and wonderful. It's nothing that we think about sometimes when we think about foreign countries or the others, or if I had imagined myself being a minority, that how it might be being an American, and being taught what Americans are taught and raising up in the consciousness that we're raised up in. So it's I don't just wanted to share the story. I just wanted to share it to honor Connie. I wanted to share it to really just share it with you because it was mind-blowing. And I'm sure you've had mind-blowing experiences as well. And if you haven't, maybe you should open up to having some. Anyway, that's it. I just wanted to share that story with you today. We were going to talk about and I also want to, I think I do want to do this right now. I think I want to say a prayer for Connie's transition before I go on into anything else. So can you indulge me in doing that? I would love to do that. I would love to do that because I will miss her so, so much. So just join with me for a moment as we turn within. Just join with me as we just pause. We just on this Sunday afternoon, no matter where you are, no matter where I am, that we join together in consciousness, recognizing the one power, the one presence, the one life that I call spirit, God, our source that is everywhere present, in everyone, around everyone, cradling everyone, in charge of really all circumstances, knowing that love is a truth between our souls and love is a truth between all people everywhere, that we are one. We are like leaves on the same tree, grains of sand on the same beach, that we are united, we are connected. And so we just stop in this awareness, and I speak my word for and about Connie, Reverend Connie Phelps, right where she is, knowing that she is being carried and comforted and held and moved forward in the most elegant way possible. For what I know is that this thing that we call death is merely a transition from this life to a greater life, this life to an expanded life, that we are ever evolving beings. And so I know that where she is with her family, that she is being she's in a tender, sweet place, that everybody who's tending to her, whether it's a doctor or a nurse or a hospice worker, that they see who Connie really is, and she is being honored, respected, and loved as she makes this ever important transition that all of us will make someday. So I'm just express my gratitude for her friendship and for her love and the journeys that we shared together that were ever so meaningful in my life. And so I'm grateful to speak this word for her, knowing that truly all is well with her soul and as she continues her eternal journey. And so it is. Thank you. So next week we're going to talk about asking the universe the right questions, or asking ourselves the right questions, making sure our prayers are in alignment with our greater good. And it's a very rich conversation as well. I'm thinking you will enjoy it. Also, I just wanted to let you know that there's some work coming up that you might be interested in. You'll have to go to my website to register or to get more information, but let me just quickly just say to you what they are. I'm currently teaching a life and spiritual master class to 8 weeks to 6 people. It's absolutely wonderful. We have 2 weeks left. I'm going to start another one in August, on August 5th. It's going to be on Wednesday evenings. So if you want to take an 8-week, get yourself off the hamster wheel of life kind of class, I think you'd really love it. It's I'm doing it on Zoom, and it's a really wonderful interactive platform for doing such things, since we can't all get together. And then I'm doing a half-day workshop called 4 Kingdoms of Consciousness, Navigating Your Spiritual Growth. It's really kind of going from victim consciousness to mystical consciousness. And it's you can either do it on July 12th or July 16th. Actually, I think that should be the 17th, either on a Sunday or a Thursday night. That's also a possibility. And then I'm also doing an 11-session Zoom class, Introduction to the Science of Mind, going over the 10 core concepts, or the 10 core ideas about this particular philosophy, faith, and way of life that is so joyful and so affirmative. So if you've been curious about that, I promise that will be just a wonderful opportunity for you to learn. So go to my website and you can get more information about that. If you want to support my work or the work of Staying Present, you can do that through PayPal, through rebdschubert@gmail.com at PayPal, or you can also use a donate button on my website. And I appreciate it, because this is my work right now, since nothing's really open. And I love it, so I want to keep doing it. So I hope you enjoyed this conversation tonight. I do. Because I think that we need to not be afraid of people who are not like us. That we need to really get that in God there are no boundaries, in God there are no colors, in God there are no genders, that we are one, and that at the core of each human being is the spark of divinity, and something that's really innocent and pure and good and loving. And that what I know through the practice of these spiritual mental laws and principles is that we get what we give. So if you expect to be treated with love, you will be treated with love. If you treat with kindness, you will get kindness in return. And that's an incredibly powerful lesson to learn, because being afraid of the other, whoever the other might be, can lead to nothing good. We know that. It leads to a world that's in conflict with each other. So go out there, practice loving yourself, loving your brother and sister, whoever they might be, and expecting good from absolutely everyone. So thank you for joining me tonight and allowing me to pray for Reverend Connie. I would just like also to speak a blessing upon each of us tonight as we close. So one more time, take a deep breath. One more time, just allow yourself to take a deep dive into your own center and fully recognize there your wholeness and your perfection. Recognize that whatever is going on in your life that doesn't look like love, you can just lay it down. If there are weapons in your mind, just lay them down, and just simply know that the truth of your being, the truth of who you are, is you are as gentle as a kitten, you are as loving as a puppy, and that your only job description you have in the entire universe is to live in life, expressing that love and that gentleness and that kindness, compassion, and peace. That is the very essence of who you are as a spiritual being having a human experience. And so I bless your week this week as you go about expressing this, and everything you do, everything you say, and everyone you meet, knowing that the end result of all of that is transformative moments that change you forever. And so for the blessing of being together tonight, I'm grateful. We let this be, we let it be together, and so it is. Namaste. I love you. I will see you next Sunday at 5 on Sunday Night Live. Peace and blessings.